Welcome everyone to another video. My name is Hagop, aka Hags, and today I'm going to go around my property explaining to you roughly how much certain things can cost in a house when doing a refurb. So it won't be exact cost of this flip, which I will do in the future, so drop a like if you want to see that, but I'll be going around things such as the plumbing just behind me, and how much that can cost if you've done a full plumbing in a property, electrics, plastering, so on. So you get a good idea if you wanted to do some renovations, whether it's for a flip project, buy to let, or even your own personal home. But obviously this does depend on where you are in the country. So don't quote me on this, but these are the rough ranges. So speaking of plumbing, let's go to it right now. So in my property, I've always done a full heating throughout the property, brand new. And if we're going to talk about a 2 or 3 bedroom property, a complete new pipe work, not only that, a new boiler as well, this can range around £7,000 to £9,000. And this includes pipe work throughout the whole property, of course, new radiators through every single room, and the new boiler. So yes, this is probably one of the most expensive costs there are, but at the end of the day, for me, because I am flipping these projects, the more works, the better. So now let's move on to windows. I've done windows in my last project, which was a bungalow. I had to replace quite a few windows, but if we're talking about a window roughly this size, they can range from around £500 to £700. So they're not cheap in the slightest. Smaller ones, we can talk around £300 to £400. And then of course you have the labor on top, give or take. If we're talking about a window like this, which is £600 or so, to fit this, it can cost up to around £800 or so, including labor to fit this one in. Of course, the more windows you have, you can probably get a better deal through your builder to get these things fitted in. So now, moving on to electrics. Once again, I do a full rewire throughout the property, new sockets throughout the property, and also a new fuse box. So that's basically the whole shebang. These sort of prices can range around £2,000 to £3,000. Again, this depends on how many sockets. So this property here is a 3 bedroom property, but you can imagine there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sockets in this one room. And that's including lights as well, by the way, and the light switches. So not just plug sockets, we're talking light switches as well. So it can add up, but at the same time, the more you have, the cheaper it can be. And then of course the fuse box included in all that. As we're still in a kitchen, we can talk about the kitchen itself. How much does a kitchen cost? So if you've bought from a kitchen supplier a fair few times, the discounts you can get is incredible. But if you haven't and you have a builder, they should have a trade account so they can get discounts of up to 40% off. So for me here, the rough cost I tend to pay for, usually it's an L shape with about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cupboards, including a built-in oven as well as a sink. This can cost up to around £2,500 to £3,000, including labor, £3,500, again depending on your builder. But I can get very good deals on kitchens because I have bought a fair few and my builder helps me out with a trade account, so I can get things a lot cheaper. But if you don't have any of those, I would say, just to be safe, £3,000 to £5,000 for a simple L-shaped kitchen, including all your fittings. So let's go now into the bathroom and the costs that you can incur with the full 3-piece set. So in this bathroom, of course, you have the bath, you have the toilet and the sink, as you normally would. You have the radiator as well. And to get this as a set, for me personally, I just go online and I find the cheapest one, or my builder knows someone who can get me the good deals. The toilet set itself, you could probably look at around the £500 mark to about £800, again, depending on the finish, including labor, give or take around £1,000. If we now go into the living room, we can talk about the plastering. So to plaster a full house, it's not the cheapest in the world. In fact, it's again one of the most expensive things, believe it or not, and I'm actually doing that as well as all the other things. So you can imagine when I tell you my refurb cost, it's not the cheapest in the slightest. But to plaster a full property, this one's a 3-bedroom, give or take 2 or 3 bedrooms, this can cost £5,000 to about £8,000 or £9,000 to do. So that's why it comes to around those prices. And again, material is not the cheapest in the world either. So if you have a builder, try use their trade account to get the cheaper materials. So now talking about the flooring. Let's just assume you've got carpets upstairs, you have a wood laminate flooring in this room and tiles in the kitchen and bathroom. Again, this depends on where you go, but to get it fitted, as well as get the materials for a 3-bedroom, give or take 2 or 3 bedrooms, let's say a property like that will come to around the £4,000 to £5,000 mark. This does depending on how cheap you get the material, the builders you know, and also the finish that you like. So if you're more of a simple finish type of person and you're maybe flipping properties, look at the prices around £3,000, £4,000 or so. Better finish, look for that £5,000 to £6,000 at most. So that's a rough range for the flooring. So there we have it. That is a realistic priced refurb for an inside of the property to do absolutely everything. If you can do these things yourself, by all means go and do it, because I would love to do these things as well, because it would save me a fortune. But this is the sort of things that you will most likely be doing whether you're living in that property or you're even looking to flip it, buy to let, you name it. Those are the costs you have to realistically incur when doing these projects. So there we have it. I've been Hagop, aka Hags. Don't forget the name, and I'll catch you in the next video.